Yeah.
We're going to see you in a second.
I sent you the link.
Mr. President, you okay to begin the party?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I know I got a text, oh, there's County. I got a text to Eric Johnson. He called via phone, but he's muted. So I just wanted to tell
I'll go find him.
somebody that. I don't think I've gotten any other texts. He texted me and Brian.
Did he?
He did.
Yep, there it is. 102.
I'm glad you didn't text me.
Hey guys, Eric Johnson.
Mayor, you
There he
can hear
is.
us?
Thanks,
Everybody
Eric. I got you out of that.
Thank
We
you.
love
I
Dallas.
appreciate that. I heard you guys talking about it. You found me.
We
Yeah.
found you.
Eric, I tried to keep you there, but Nan's got the power of this committee, so she pushed you out.
Was blind, but now I see.
I know, right? I really do feel like singing it's spiritual.
All right, are we ready to go, team? Let's
Yes,
go.
ma'am.
All right, okay, I'm gonna call this meeting of the International Committee to order, the first standing committee to meet this week. I'm Nan Whaley, Mayor of Dayton and Chair of this committee. I'd like to acknowledge and congratulate our Vice Chair, Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt, on his nomination to Trustee of the United States Conference of Mayors. It's good to see you, David, and so glad you have a haircut. I also want to thank our CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran, for joining us today. Tom's leadership during these troubled times, that's a euphemism, has been essential in helping all of us deal with the pandemic, and especially his efforts to lobby on behalf of Washington. I feel like I have seen Tom more virtually than we get to see him when we get to be in person, but I certainly miss seeing you in person, Tom, and thank you for your great leadership through all this. We will do our best to run this meeting as normal as possible, but first I want to recognize that these are not normal times. Our President, Mayor Brian Barnett, has asked for a couple of minutes at the start of our meeting to welcome everyone, and I'd like to now give him the opportunity to address the committee. Mayor Barnett, wild times for sure that you've led us through, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Whaley. Thank you for your incredible leadership. This is, remember, Tom, we sat down and we perfectly planned what we knew this year would lay out, and we nailed it. We knew that all this stuff was going to happen, and just like we had predicted. Good afternoon, everyone on the International Affairs Committee. Thank you for giving me just a couple brief moments at the beginning. And thank you, most importantly, for your continued engagement with the organization. You know, one of the challenges that I think probably every organization dealing with COVID right now is trying to remain relevant, whether you're a restaurant trying to get your customers back, whether you're a church trying to get your parishioners back, whether you're the Conference of Mayors trying to get your mayors back. Every organization has worked really hard, I think, to try and continue to show relevance to its members. And I am incredibly proud, I think, at the way the conference has done that over the past few months. Of course, led by Tom Cochran and our incredible staff, top to bottom. I hope they get thanked on each and every call over the next week, because they certainly have worked hard to pivot almost immediately into trying to create valuable virtual experiences. So thank you to Tom and the team, and thank you again to the mayors on the line, business council members, and others. We appreciate your continued support of our organization. Our organization has a busy couple of weeks. We've been working hard, and I think we've done hopefully a good job in updating you on all the things that we've been working on and all the things that are coming up. As Mayor Whaley mentioned, there was a very important meeting last Friday of the nominating committee. This organization really sets the structure and chooses the leadership, at least proposes the leadership for the executive committee to choose. I want to congratulate Nan Whaley, of course, who will be our first vice president, assuming everything passes on July 1st or June 30th, of course. She mentioned Mayor Holt. Mayor Holt, congratulations to you as being one of the two members proposed to be a trustee. Mayor Holt, I don't exactly understand. He made a lot of noise being the mayor who got rid of the cow tipping shirts in Oklahoma City Airport, yet he sits in front of cows in every city, every virtual meeting I've ever seen in front of us. A very confusing mixed message. Holt, you either love the cows or you don't. Pick a side. But also want to recognize Mayor Cabaldon, who was also chosen to be a trustee and recommended for trusteeship. Mayor Cabaldon, it's nice to see you finally getting involved. And then, of course, the other member on this committee who was recognized, we just heard from, is Mayor Eric Johnson from the city of Dallas, is being proposed to be an advisory member. Mayor Johnson, we're excited about the leadership that you'll bring and appreciate your interest in our organization. So there's a full list of members. I just tried to highlight the folks that are on this call, but a great group are being put forward, and we look forward to the executive committee considering their nominations and moving them forward. The executive committee meets on June the 30th. They'll consider all these resolutions that you'll be considering here under Mayor Whaley's leadership here over the next 45 minutes or so. And then they'll be voting on the recommendations of the nominating committee and the resolutions as proposed by the International Affairs Committee, as well as the other 9 committees, standing committees of the Conference of Mayors. Then on July 1st, the following day, it'll be our virtual plenary session. It's at noon Eastern time, where I'll give some remarks regarding the last year. And Mayor Fisher, our incoming president, will give remarks about where he wants to take us in his plan for 2020 and 2021. So you want to make sure that you have July 1st at noon on your calendar to hear a couple speeches, see some great videos, and hopefully try to create this experience as best we can. It's not Austin, no barbecue, no Willie Nelson, but we're going to try to do the best we can to put a lot of mayoral faces up there and continue to do the great work of this organization. Just one other final announcement. One of the other groups that you probably heard a lot about is this working group that we stood up with Mayor Lightfoot, Mayor Cranley, and Mayor Castor on police reform and racial justice. And that group will be meeting and reporting out under Mayor Lightfoot's committee on Thursday. So if you've been following that, you may want to tune into that meeting because they're going to be reporting their initial recommendations. And we plan on socializing those and getting media involved, as that group has done a lot of work over the last 2 weeks. And our entire conference is really behind them and their work. Finally, just to say this, and thank you, Mayor Whaley, for the couple of minutes. I just want to say thank you to all the members of this committee for your work. I reviewed all the resolutions. You got some good ones there, and certainly some ones that will advance the mission of this organization. I just appreciate you. Appreciate the support you've shown me over the last year. And thank you for, as Mayor Whaley mentioned, challenging times, unique circumstances, but the conference I don't really think has lost a step. In fact, my hope is that you feel more connected now than you ever have in the past. So thank you for the few moments. I'll stick around as long as I can. Mayor Whaley, thank you for your time and look forward to working under your leadership in the years ahead. Thanks.
Thanks, President Barnett, and thanks for making the time to come to International Committee virtually. We're glad you're here, and I know we'll probably all see each other a lot over the next week as we go through standing committees. The virtual committee meeting, this one, is the first of the 10 that will be held this week, as I mentioned at the beginning of this call. I think we are all used to Zoom meetings now, but I want to give David Burns, who is doing all of these for the conference, an opportunity to guide us on how to manage virtually and explain how we're going to vote. David, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor. So hi, everyone. I'm David Burns. I work on tech and innovation issues for the conference, and by default, I'm your Zoom guide for the next week or so. I just kind of want to go over a few kind of real quick guidelines. Like Mayor Whaley said, we assume that a lot of you guys have been doing Zoom for a while, so simple things like keep your Zoom on mute when you're not talking would be helpful, and just kind of be ready to unmute when you're getting ready to speak, things like that. The way that voting is going to work in this, obviously, if you're going to cast a no vote, you'll still be doing that in the Conference of Mayors mobile app. And so if you have any questions, feel free to email me. That's dburns, D-B-U-R-N-S, @usmayors.org. We'll be able to help you with that. I also want to mention that if there are any mayors who are not on the screen yet that need to be pulled through, I've opened chat for the next few minutes. And so just chat me and I'll pull you on through so you can be on video with the rest of everyone here. For voting in the actual sessions, I do want to mark, you'll just go ahead and raise your hand like this. Don't use the Zoom raising hand button. When the chair calls a yay, raise your hand so it's visible, and Luis and art staff will be there to count. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, best of luck with your meeting today.
I was muted. Thanks, David, for your update on that. And I'm glad we're doing it like old school and new school together with hand raising for ayes. If you have questions for David, just put them in the chat function, and he'll be happy to answer them as we work through this effort. And again, as he said, if you're listening and not and a mayor and you're not on the screen, please just use the chat function so he can add you. Okay, so traditionally at this point we go around the room and introduce ourselves before getting started, but I think it's hard to do that virtually. So instead I'm going to ask any new members of the committee that would like to do so to introduce themselves. If you are a new member, please unmute your microphone and welcome to say a few words.
Mayor Whaley, this is Eric Johnson here. I don't know if you meant new to the organization or new to the committee, but I am new to the committee. It's my first meeting. So thank you for adding me to the committee, President Barnett, and I'm glad to be here. I'm the mayor of Dallas, Texas.
Glad you're here, Eric. Thank you.
Let the hazing begin.
Yeah. Anybody else? I think everybody else has been part of this committee before, so I'll move on that I see on the screen. So our first order of business is consideration of resolutions. And so we're just going to move right into the meat. There are 4 resolutions submitted in a timely fashion by the deadline. When we complete consideration of resolutions number 34, 35, 36, and 37, we will consider any new resolutions that a committee member wishes to propose. Consideration of new resolutions requires a 2/3 votes of the committee members. If you have any new resolutions and haven't done so already, please provide them to Luis, staff commit to the committee as soon as possible. Luis, how would they send those to you?
Email is the best way right now. Just email me if you have any new resolutions.
Can you quickly give your email so then they have it?
Yes, it's lrenta, RENTA, @usmayors.org.
Thank you. I should also mention I wouldn't be able to do any of this without Luis. He's been wonderful. We've been doing monthly Zoom calls just to keep track of work, and really grateful for his amazing work on this committee. Okay, also, if you want to add your name as a co-sponsor of any of these resolutions, you can do so by using the app or the community website. You're also welcome to let Luis know that so that you can add your name before the resolution package is assembled. So you can do that today as well. Remember that only members of the committee can vote on the resolutions, although any mayor present may participate in the conversation. Helping us with this afternoon is our parliamentarian, Tim Nguyen. Welcome back, Tim, and thanks for being here to help us. Woohoo, yay. Okay, as a reminder, you are able to formally record a no vote on any specific resolution that is adopted during the committee meeting. Please note that recording a no vote requires the use of the app, and we encourage all mayors to download the latest version of the app and register their USCM account. Does anyone have any questions about this process? All right, let's proceed with the resolutions. The resolutions were emailed to you and posted on the conference website 2 weeks ago. I hope each of you had an opportunity to review them. I'm going to read out the number and the title of each resolution, and I will ask for a motion in a second to move consideration of the resolution. The question is now on the floor, the approval of resolution number 34, supporting cities to seize international opportunities and respond to transnational threats. The resolution was submitted by Mayor Garcetti. Do I hear a motion to consider this resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Consideration of resolution number 34 has been moved in second. We don't have any discussion right away, right? We just move right to, is that right, Tim?
Vote. Take the vote.
Let me unmute myself. No, we would have, the debate would be open at this point, and then when debate ends, then we would put it to a vote.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this issue?
Can I call a question?
Yes, you can, Mayor County. So good to hear you. All those in favor say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the resolution passes unanimously. The question is now on the approval of resolution number 35, calling for human-centered security in a time of the global pandemic. The resolution was submitted by Mayor County of Des Moines. Do I hear a motion to consider the resolution?
Move the resolution, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on this? Mayor County, do you have anything you want to say about your resolution?
It's a wonderful resolution, and I'm hoping to see Nan Whaley's name on it as well as Mayor Bolwich and everybody else on the phone today.
I will make sure I do that, Mayor County. Thank you. Any other discussion? Elizabeth?
Mayor Whaley, you can add me to that sponsored list as well.
Thank you, Mayor Couts. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of this resolution, number 35, say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, resolution passes. Okay, moving on. The question is now the approval of resolution number 36, encouraging smooth implementation of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The resolution was submitted by Mayor Giles and Mayor Faulkner. Resolution number 36 is being considered with minor edits agreed with the co-sponsors. You received an updated resolution text on this Friday. These minor changes were actually from me. As you all know, I think in this, at least Cabalden does, that, you know, sometimes I have issues with USMCA, but I will vote in favor of this with these changes, and I appreciate the co-sponsors agreeing with these changes. Do I have a motion to consider the resolution?
Madam Chair, I move consideration of the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion on this motion.
Madam Chair, I would like to be added as a sponsor of this resolution. We've worked on this particular item, and your amendments to it fits with everything that we've been working on. So
thank you, Mrs. Katz. You remember last year, right? So okay.
Nan,
Yeah.
add my name as well.
Thanks, Mayor County.
And mine. I requested it earlier, but if it's
And
not there,
Margot?
please.
yeah,
Yeah.
Christopher.
Alden?
Yeah.
All right. Everyone loves this
Add
resolution.
mine as well. Might as well. Don't want to be left out.
Yeah, look at all this love. Yeah.
We worked too hard on this.
Yes. Okay, seeing that and that everyone wants to be a sponsor, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, resolution number 36 passed. The question is now on the approval of resolution number 37, support for a comprehensive trade agreement with the United Kingdom. This resolution was submitted as well by Mayor Garcetti. Do I have a motion to consider this resolution?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. Second by Mayor Johnson. Conversation or discussion, debate on this resolution number 37. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Thank you. All right. Those were the resolutions that we had in hand. Now this consideration of new resolutions. Each resolution will require a 2/3 vote by committee members present for the committee to consider it. Passage of the resolution requires a majority vote. So 2/3 to consider, 50+1 to pass it in. Are there any other new resolutions?
I have not received any resolutions, any new ones.
All right. Going once. Going twice. Okay, I'm going to close new resolutions. All right. Now we'll move on to new business. Want to see if there's any new business. I want to let, is there any business anyone has? You guys are so easy today, just because you know we're going to have 10 of these. 10. I want to let the committee know that I'd like us to start meeting on a monthly basis virtually. I've asked Louise to come up with a schedule of speakers and topics for us to engage in, and I want you to submit any suggestions that you might have to Louise. I think during this time of everybody Zooming, this is a great opportunity for the International Committee to do more international work, because some of these international leaders could be very interested in talking to America's mayors. And so we're going to do this monthly with a program, not just to get together, but a program moving forward. We have some ideas of mayors, for example, of Italy that have gone through COVID, for example, that we want to reach out to. and other opportunities just for us to give that effort for mayors that might be interested as well. So if you have folks that you would be interested in talking to or listening to, if you have some ideas right now, I'd open this conversation right now. But of course, if you think of something brilliant later, you can send it to me or Luis as well. Any ideas or thoughts or topics that you would like the International Committee to open up in conversation during this time of COVID? Or people? We did try to get the Canadians on, right, today, Luis, and weren't successful. We'll still try to get them on as we work through this. Hello.
Hi, how are you? I was actually multitasking, eating lunch, and I couldn't do it while being on. So
I have my lunch right here, so I understand. Any ideas or comments? You can feel free to text them to us or email us. But we think
Madam Chair, the Mayor of London is a dear friend of ours. You recall that he came to Austin, Texas. And we spent many hours with him, and of course, I met with him and went with him in London. And so, you know, they are having issues there, and I think he's someone that you know, would be interested in us to maybe talk to every now and then. You know, he's a dear friend of ours, and. And of course, you know, as Luis knows, Mayor Garcetti is the chair of the C40, and the C40 was created by Mayor Ron Livingston of London and Mayor Bloomberg many, many years ago, and it now has evolved in itself into an environmental group. And I know that some of you were there when he ascended to the chair. And I know that Mayor Garcetti has been having calls with, you know, international leaders. And we have gotten, you know, many notes from, and I'm sure that Mayor Barnett has too, expressing our concern about what's going on here in America. So there's a number of you know, mayors that we can look at. I know that Luis, we facilitated a call, Madam Chair, with the mayors of Brazil, because we have a relationship with them. We went there 10 years ago and signed with the PNF, which is the equivalent of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Brasilia. And so, Luis, you want to talk about how you connected those mayors up?
Sure, we had the mayor.
Brazil's in deep trouble right now.
Yes.
It is in deep trouble, and it's about 3 or 4 weeks behind a lot of where we are. And they've had very difficult dynamics between the cities, the state, and the federal government. And the Brazilians reached out wanting to have some experience. So we had the mayor of Miami, Mayor Suarez, lead that discussion, and the deputy mayor of LA was on there. And we had 2 Brazilian mayors, 2 American mayors for a conversation.
And the other thing, I'll stop. I'm just dropping by your committee this afternoon.
And we're grateful for it.
We are very, very close, as you know, with the Mexican mayors. We were all honored to be when AMLO became president. And in these calls that Mayor Fisher has been having, Mayor Margo expressed some very unique issues he has there on the border relative to, as we discussed earlier. So, Mayor Margo, anything we can do, the International Committee should really look at your situation, because, if we were in Austin, Texas now, we would have already met with the Mexican mayors, Luis, with the Canadian mayors, and continued, this organization that we have. So anything we can do to help, Madam Chair, anything we can do to help Mayor Margo right now, believe me, would be, I think, helpful. Dee, can you help talk to us about that a little bit?
We have our public health people have daily contact with Juarez, Mexico, and their public health people. And about 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with Mayor Cabada of Juarez and his senior health folks with our counterparts. at the Mexican Consul General's office here. Now, what was disturbing to me was that Mayor Cabada said to me that the only numbers he's comfortable with coming out of Juarez are the number of deaths, period. That they don't know where they are on the positives. The Social Security hospitals have all been opened up. We know of firsthand anecdotal information here where a physician has family members. You know, we're a community that's a region for 350 plus years. So we have families on both sides, and that's been going on for 350 years. But the concern is that this one physician that I heard anecdotally had a family member unable to get into a hospital room over there. The private hospital only had 2 rooms for COVID, and he finally got her into one of those. They're not allowing right now under the federal limitations, unless you're essential, a citizen or a green card carrying individual, you can't cross the bridges. And that's while the city of El Paso owns all but one of our bridges, CBP and the feds control access back and forth. But basically what's going on is that the federal government controls the testing materials in Mexico, and they're only releasing enough to test symptomatic individuals. I think back to the 4 out of 6 that was originally done by WHO or whatever it was to begin with. And then they actually appealed to us to provide them with testing materials. And I said, we can't do that. We don't have the ability to do that, so we can't. So I have a great concern, but the dichotomy here is the problem I've got is that I've got the mayors of Laredo and the economic development folks from Laredo on up the border, including our economic borderplex alliance, requesting to the Department of Justice, or excuse me, to CBP and the feds to open up the bridges because their sales tax revenues are hurt so much. Ours are down 13% in April. We've got a rolling average, and I'm sure May will be down even more. And it does affect us here in El Paso because we have a lot of consumers that come over from Mexico. However, I'm more concerned about our hospital space and being overrun with folks from with Mexicans coming over if the bridges open up because they can't get care in Juarez. Frankly, they're sending them from Juarez down to Chihuahua City because they don't have the room for it. So it's so we got the economic folks stating they want it open. I've told Senator Cornyn and I've told our governor and I've told others, I do not want it open. We're the largest city on the U.S.-Mexico border across from one of the largest cities. And I just think it would be, they're not ready yet. They don't have it. They were late to the party in any type of quarantining and some of the things we've been doing since March. And I'm just very concerned that we could have a tremendous outbreak if the bridges are open. And also we've been pushing CBP on their medical protocols. They're really not in place yet once it's open on how they'll validate people coming back and forth. Mexico does random checks on the south when you head south. We don't do any checks when they're coming north. So it's so we've met with CBP. I've met with the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection. And we're still, so it's just while we're doing okay in El Paso, I'm concerned about the future if we open up the border.
Thank you.
Mayor Cavalli.
Oh, Christopher, do you have something to say?
But you're the chair.
Go ahead.
Well, I just to piggyback on what Mayor Margot said, I think the Mexican mayors and actually groups of mayors, and Brazil is a great example, but lots of our neighboring mayors to the south are facing a problem that we wouldn't have any familiarity with before, which is what do you do when your federal government is either absent or denying? And certainly AMLO's in that space. He's out kissing babies and telling folks that their church cards will protect them from the virus. But we do have experience in this. these last several months, we have unfortunately built a lot of knowledge and capacity in how to act and what to do when the federal government is either absent or affirmatively unhelpful. So it does seem like, using what we built over the last couple of years with the Mexican mayors and the one Canadian mayor too, that this is an appropriate moment for us to be useful in Mexico and Brazil and Nicaragua, Honduras, the rest of our hemisphere, where there are opportunities to do so. So I support that. And then we'll also, to the extent to which the Mexican mayors can get a handle on some of these issues, it will reduce, like immigration itself, it will reduce the pressure on folks to come north for services and for healthcare. So it seems like that's one area. Second is, the opportunity of the virtual diplomacy through this committee is that we can connect with mayors in places we would never otherwise visit. So I definitely support, talking to the Italian mayors and others, but the Laotian mayors and the mayors in Cameroon and places that we just don't go to, and that they don't have the ability really to come to us. This is a time in the next couple of months where potentially, we could do that and build some muscle in the rest of the world. And that in some respects also relates to our ongoing work with the Global Parliament of Mayors, to the extent that we stay committed there. That parliament, suffers from a lack of global inclusion, frankly. It's basically the Western European and parts of Africa Parliament of Mayors within us. The rest of the world's pretty much absent. And we don't have ongoing relationships with most of those African mayors. We just see them once a year at the Global Parliament. So, I think if we're re-examining our role there and how we might play a role, if we do, then this is also time for us to make some more bilateral relationships with some of the other participants in the Global Parliament beyond just Sicily and Mannheim, Germany, but in the rest of the world as well. So, thanks, Madam Chair.
Mr. Chairman, the question is, can the United States Conference of Mayors at Luis, with our relationship with the Mexican government, and the question is, can we do anything to alleviate the situation with our Mayor DeMargo? That's really the question. And that is something that Luis, we know the ambassador, we know the foreign minister. We met with him before he was ever sworn in. We have strong relations there. I was on a Zoom call the other night with Mayor Margot, and I called him afterwards because I could just see what he's dealing with there. I'm trying to figure out exactly, Mayor Margot, what we could do to help in our organization. Luis, you have any thoughts about that?
I think we could definitely reach out and use our leverage. I mean, we do have a really good relationship with the foreign minister, and maybe putting this in his team and his, would do something. There's no guarantee, but it wouldn't hurt for us to do that. Maybe put a letter together and send it to him directly, or Mayor, if you wanted to have a talk directly, a plea, that might be helpful if you're interested. I'm happy to connect with Olivia to see exactly what makes sense for you and how we can leverage our relationships, because that's what they're there for, right? We build these relationships for these times so that we can leverage them on benefit of our mayors. So,
Luis, one thing that I've learned from the Mexican hierarchy and authority is, while the mayor of Juarez wanted to shut down their restaurants and bars some time ago, he had no authority. It was only with the governor. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little, the governor of Chihuahua. So, and apparently the way the funds flow or directions flow is it goes to the governors of the various states. So whatever we need to do there, but also on the flip side is we ought to have some kind of request. Faulkner, I'm sure, would jump on this to Customs and Border Protection to ask them to tell us what their protocols are going to be once this does open up. I mean, we've talked about it. I've had the the head of our Border Patrol, our head of our bridge sectors. We meet regularly, but I have not seen a definitive protocol yet on how they expect to deal with this once things do open up. But I think we could probably go to the Fed side. I told the governor, our governor, Eric will appreciate. Eric and I and some of us have been dealing with changes that we've had to implement that the governor chose not to take advantage of. I told him 2 weeks ago, I said, my concern is that while this is a federal issue, it'll quickly become a state issue and a local issue if they open up the bridges. So I think maybe we could request, that may be one of the things we want to have, Nan, for a presentation is get the commissioner on or something to talk about what their future protocols will be from a standpoint of once we do open up, how are they going to measure it? How are they going to handle it?
Yes, let's do that right away, Luis. I think that would be very good.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I also think Lily joined and she's been chatting a bit. And she asked about China, Taiwan, and India. And Mayor Cabaldon, thanks for your comments. I think that's right. Like thinking of places that we normally can't get to reach out to kind of broaden that, and particularly with past President Steve Benjamin being a vice president on the Global Parliament of Mayors, perhaps he'll want to participate in a way to broaden what is sorely lacking in that organization. So, but Lily's point about China, India, and Taiwan, we have had some conversations with China, and particularly Luis and I visited their ambassadorship. We were in DC was it last January? Did we do that? When was that, Luis?
Yes, when you were here for the winter meeting.
Yeah, the winter meeting. Gosh, it seems like forever ago. And then we have also been working with groups around travel with heartland mayors that they're interested in, particularly in Texas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, some of the places that they're trying to build relationships in the center of the country. And so we've been working with that. Obviously that is on hold for a while right now, but they have been doing also some webinars for that group. And so if folks are interested in that, just please let me know. But I do think, again, I know that incoming President Fisher's interest in India is large. And so that will be driven by the incoming president. And then as Christopher said, I'm just reading these chats, like Singapore and Korea's experience could be very relevant around COVID as well. So this is a very rich conversation for us to be able to put together what we want to do the second half of the year via Zoom. Mayor Couch, I saw your finger up, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Mayor Cabaldon, because when I was president, Tom, we have a relationship with the mayors of China. And we took a lot of our efforts with regard to climate and formed relationships there. So I think we can reactivate that. And the other part is also we have relationships with the European Union. When I was mayor, we also, president, we did a lot of work with them and had a memorandum of understanding with some of those mayors from the different countries. So that broadens out all of the work that we have done, but it's another building block in all the work that we've done internationally, and we can continue to do that by reactivating and those conversations, whether that can be reactivated, Madam Chair. And now that we have this technology with Zoom, and COVID has really brought us to an understanding that we can work globally with all of the mayors across the world. Yeah, and so this is an opportunity for us to lead in this arena.
Agreed.
Mayor, could I go quickly back to Mexico? The foreign minister, which is the Secretary of State, is a dear friend of ours. Mayor Couch knows him. We've been with him when he was mayor of Mexico City. And so, Luis, is there any way we might talk to our friends there when we establish this relationship with them about the situation here with the governor and the two governors and Mayor DeMargo's issue? I mean, I think we need to let him know that we've got concerns about it.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely, we can try to reach out. Does it make sense to have a Zoom call, or maybe a letter? How formal do we want to do it, I guess is the question. To Mayor, what do you think would, I also, the local politics better than we do, and how they would react to that influence. And so
Mayor Margo,
I'm 100%, then we need to leverage our relationships. That's the way they're there for. What do you think would be the best way to do that?
Mayor Margot is asking. He's asking you, not me.
Luis, I'd probably say, given the formality of the Mexicans, I'd say a letter first and then have a discussion afterwards. That's
Mayor
usually the way it
Mayor
works.
Burke has been trying to speak for a bit. Andy?
No, yes, I'm a little bit of a different topic, but back to your question of what we can do. Over the last few weeks, we've seen international gatherings of people talking about Black Lives Matter, something that really we have mostly seen in the US up to today, and engaging mayors around the world who are seeing this in their cities as well and talking about what it means in overseas, how they view America and are seeing the Black Lives Matter movement. Those to me are places where we can really have fruitful discussions. That I do think COVID is obviously a place where there's a lot of synchronicity that we should have, but my experience in Europe and done a lot of work with the State Department is the way they view diversity and inclusion is fundamentally different than the way we do. And seeing so many Europeans and people from around the world come out in support of Black Lives Matter is, I think, worthy of more discussion across the borders.
Great idea, Mayor Burke. That's a great topic for us to work as well. So Luis is taking good notes for us as we go through this. Lily, Mayor May, I know you've been wanting to speak. Can I call on you?
Sure. So I just wanted to share, because I know that right now, when we're going through this period of time, one of the things that is helpful when we're looking at reopening and having control is that Taiwan has been through this process before with SARS, and they've been able, with a nation as populous and as dense as they are, to have had control over it in Taiwan. And so we've built some really good relationships, and we have ongoing dialogue here. Just because we're situated in the Bay Area, is I often do have frequently mayors coming from Taiwan, coming from China, coming from India to Fremont. And it's been very helpful in this period of time, such as securing PPE, because they had built up their production, as well as ventilators and other discussion items. So I think that that's something that if we should need to prepare for a second surge, it might be something that we want to leverage or to be able to utilize and build those relationships. Because a lot of the production that you're looking at for those masks and for the PPE that is being utilized worldwide is actually coming from China.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a good point too.
And then finally, I just wanted to mention, because I know India is a real concern right now because you're looking at the surge there. And so I'm really greatly concerned about the impact, because we have a lot of, usually a lot of ongoing business between our region and the other parts of Asia. So it's just something that I would try to keep an eye on. That's why we're trying to figure out where it started in January.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for the feedback.
Thanks.
President Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor Whaley. Just it's hard, kind of the conversations bouncing around, but they're so tied ultimately in how we can work together. One thing I would say to Mayor May, first of all, it's good to see you again, is that, I think what we're learning even through COVID, even in the last couple of weeks, where this is really, where at one time we thought hot weather would change it. It's booming in warm weather areas where we thought at once it was seniors that would be focused on. It is flying through the 20 and 30 population. And so that global learning probably has never been more important. And to Mayor Burke's point, just wanted to mention, and Luis knows this, the Global Parliament of Mayors, for all of the maybe challenges in setting up their structure, have been wonderfully supportive on the topic of Black Lives Matter and supporting our situation here relative to racial inequities. They provided a lot of information. They sent us a letter. We sent them a letter back with Luis's help. Mayor Burke, they've got some best practices. They've got some learnings that I think could be very helpful. So I think we could socialize those among this group. It's a great point. It's a great opportunity to see just a different perspective and the way it's not perfect there, and I'm sure they would tell you that as well. But I read some of their stuff, some of their links, some of their I guess their best practices, and they were very, very helpful to get a different perspective on this very common and very old topic. So I think we can get those out, Luis, and socialize those to this group, and it could be something we could follow up on. It's a good point. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Any other comments before I turn it over to our vice chair for some closing comments? All right. This has been a very helpful, right, Luis? I think to give us some direction as we, thought of this idea. I'm glad you all are supportive and had great ways to make it more rich as we work on this. We will get on Mayor Margot's issue right away. I do think both using our connections is key, but then also I think having a more broad dialogue with the governor of Mexico, so we can really get an idea not only for Mayor Margot, but for these other cities that are on the border. I think this is going to become a bigger issue. Mayor Margot is usually the canary in the coal mine for us on these issues when we see it coming to other communities on the border. So we'll do that. And then appreciate this feedback both around working with COVID, but also Black Lives Matter and using these moments of our time to really look worldly and connect mayors across the globe via Zoom. Mayor Holt, do you have any comments or closing?
Great feedback from the committee and the mayors, and great ideas for continuing the dialogue of this committee. And I definitely support your thought of meeting more often and having sort of some educational sessions, and the fact that our renewed ability to do these types of meetings because of COVID gives us an opportunity to maybe consider interaction with international mayors that a year or two ago we wouldn't have thought possible because none of us even knew what Zoom was. But I think that's a really cool element we could add to this committee work.
Thank you, Mayor Holt. Well, I think we've done our business. We've had a good conversation. Look for hearing from us more. Luis, thank you for your good work. Tim, I'm glad we didn't have to use you very much. And I hope you all have a great day. And I'll probably see more of you all this week as we continue to do standing committees. It's always just an honor to get to do this work and see you all. I miss you all terribly. Virtual hugs all around. See you in a bit. Thank you.